G'day everyone, just want to give a few special shout outs before the start of the video today. Mick at the Magpie Army Chronicles, Maddie at the Warble, Lucas at the Geelong Zone, and Dermot and Michael from the Into the Woods podcast. All these individuals have given me special shout outs during their own content, and I just want to say that I'm super appreciative of it. I will put all their channel links in the description of this video. Thanks again, guys. Now onto the video. Player number 25, Denis Flaherty. Hugh James Flaherty, born on the 19th of March 1873 in Sandridge, which is now Port Melbourne, also recruited from Port Melbourne, was an 177cm rover and forward. A premiership player of the VFL flag in 1896, he was the man to put the Pies ahead with a said shot in the dying stages that day. Playing lots of VFA before entering the VFL comp, he would only be at the Pies for the first VFL season, notching up 4 games and getting regularly injured in that year, then retiring. After having played 53 VFA games prior, he was well regarded, fast, gutsy and a lively small forward, and one of the most popular figures amongst his teammates. Funny but serious when required. After retirement, he would go on to become a labourer. However, sadly, would die just 4 years later on the 10th of October 1901, aged just 28 due to pneumonia. An obituary in the Age reads, Flaherty, on the 10th of October at the Melbourne Hospital, suddenly of pneumonia. Youngest son of the late Hugh James Flaherty Sr. of Port Melbourne. Oh, little I thought when I bade him goodbye, I left him forever, all alone to die. Player number 26, Denis Lanigan. Denis Lanigan was born on the 18th of May, 1874, in County Tipperary, Ireland. The 180cm utility was recruited from the Collingwood Juniors. A very talented footballer, he never seemed to like being in the same place for too long, playing for 3 VFL clubs in 3 years, Melbourne and Carlton the others, holding the strange stat of being the first VFL footballer to represent 3 clubs at the top level. A very talented cricketer, he would also don the whites in the summer for Princes Park. He would come back to the Pies after his final stint at Carlton, however, would not play a senior game, then moved on quickly again. Denis's story is another fascinating one, hopefully not lost to time. Denis died on the 1st of February in 1933, aged 58, in Fitzroy, Victoria. Player number 27, and another absolute titan of the Collingwood Football Club, is Fred Leach. John Frederick Leach, born on the 6th of March 1878 in Heidelberg, Victoria, was an 183cm centreman, recruited from Boroondara after the family moved to the suburb of Surrey Hills. To start things off, at the turn of the century, Fred was considered one of the best footballers in the game. However, to quote historian Michael Wilson, he was a fragile champion, whose career was frequently interrupted by injury, illness and occasional bouts of indifference to the game over which he held such mastery. He would retire just aged 25. Fred's debut game would even end early with an ankle injury in a show of things to come. Fred was such an athlete, it is said that he was able to run 100 yards in almost even time. For those playing at home, that's 91 metres in just over 10 seconds. Incredibly quick. His kicking was said to be near perfect, and his height also made him a great marking option. Wal Lee, the long-time trainer we spoke about in previous videos, declared him to be the greatest player the club had produced. and that was 50 years after his last game. For all the good, there was unfortunately the other side. He suffered many injuries, and often was just disinterested in playing. In his 7 seasons at Collingwood, he retired 3 times and never managed to string together more than 10 games in a row. A perfect example of this was in 1901. He would decide to go on a 3-week holiday mid-season to Sydney and Brisbane. Despite this, he would still be declared the club's champion player of the year and also the Press's champion of the year. The medal in the image is the Press's award. He would play in the club's 1902 premiership. However, in 1903, he would suffer a broken nose during a game, and complications after surgery would force him into permanent retirement. He didn't accept that, however, and he did return to his childhood club Boroondara for a few appearances in 1905 before ultimately getting ill. Just to interject as well, Boroondara ended up merging that year with Hawthorn. Hawthorn was its own separate club, adopting the name Hawthorn, which is the birthplace of the AFL club we know today. Tragically, in 1908, just a few years later, Fred would contract typhoid fever and die. He was only 30. I thought it necessary, given the accolades of the man, to read a newspaper report extracted out of the Box Hill Reporter. Death at Surrey Hills. The many friends of Mr. Leach, of Essex Roads, Surrey Hills, and also of Dixon's Creek near Yarra Glen, learned with extreme regret of the death of his second son, Mr. John Frederick Leach, which took place at his father's residence, Surrey Hills, on Tuesday 14, deceased, who was only 30 years of age, had not enjoyed good health for the last 18 months through a chest trouble. But his ailment was not regarded as serious until a couple of weeks before his death, when another complication set in and carried him off. For 7 years he played with the Collingwood Football Club and generally played in the centre, where he figured prominently. And about the year 1901, he was recognised by the Argus as the champion player for the season. He was also well known throughout the district as a cricketer, though he had not played during his last 2 years. Prior to his illness, he had been employed as a clerk in the Australian Mortgage Wool Warehouse. He was well known and well liked. And that's pretty much about it for Fred. He was buried at Boroondara Cemetery on the 15th, when the Reverend John Barmby, Presbyterian minister of Kew, officiated at the grave. Yeah, just a sad end for such a great footballer. The deepest sympathy is expressed for the relatives in their sad bereavement. Player number 28 is a man called Herman Hellwig. I think I've said that right, with a V instead of a W. Any students of the German language want to correct me? I'm all ears. Herman Otto Hellwig, born on the 30th of June 1875 in Northcote, the son of German immigrants, not surprisingly, was an 179cm forward and journeyman, recruited from junior club Preston, then to North Melbourne VFA, Carlton VFA, and finally Collingwood VFL. He would represent the Pies for 3 years for a total of 21 games. Like so many of these fringe players, not much is known about his Collingwood story. After his time at the Pies, he would play for Preston again, then Northcote, then go back to Preston to coach. He didn't seem to stay in the same place for too long. He would pass away on the 5th of August in 1952, aged 77, in Oakleigh, Victoria. An obituary in the Age reads, Hellwig, on the 5th of August at Oakleigh Community Hospital, Herman Otto, dearly loved husband of Marie, loving father of Lou, Gordon and Ali, loved stepfather of Gwen, John, William, Robert and Richard, and devoted brother of Netta, aged 77 years, at rest. He was cremated cremated, at the Springvale Crematorium. He seems to have a fair bit of family there, so if anyone would like to reach out, as I always say, I've got an email in the description of the channel. Please get in touch. Would love to hear more of his story. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you on the next one.